Bingo. All right, so one of the major things that'll help you out, high pop or even prime time PvP, or if you're just having a hard time and there's a lot of land claim happening on the shore or just the mainland, I often find that going around on a boat and hitting the flotillas for scrap and just basic entry level stuff, if you're coming into a map that has already had a pretty deep wipe, that sounds bad, but if they've been playing for a while and there's a lot of established players already, I find that going around the boat is quite essential. And even just mid to late game, it can be quite useful too, because you've got the option to just jump out of the boat if things go really badly, and if you have an air tank, well, ideally air tank and then some flippers, you can just go underwater and then use your compass to get back to your base. Now, this isn't a main base by any stretch, or even like a build. Obviously, we're in a more of a creative mode right now, but I'm going to show you one of the electrical builds that we can use. It's cheap, very cheap, and you can use to store a boat or use a boathouse and have an automatic door close. So let me go ahead and just roll up here. Bloop. See, we have a lot of already pre-built stuff here. We got a working model there, and we're going to drive into it, and you can see just how it works. Having an automatic door is essential to keeping other people who are going to try to come after you in your boat. Using the HBF sensor. Oh, you know what's crazy? I turned it off like a dummy. Hang on. Well, this is actually to save juice. Now it's on. So I'm like, check it out. And then it doesn't turn on. Let me back up. So yeah, instead of pulling up, dismounting, and then opening the garage door, you can pull right in. And as long as the boat or the entryway is facing out towards the shoreline, you're going to look at that clean. It closes all by itself. Now, there's many ways you can do this. You can do it with a HBF sensor. What is this called? HBHF. I always forget what that acronym is, but or you can use it with just a switch until you get these parts. So this automatic door setup, this Rust electric automatic door setup is fairly cheap. So I think we have most of the mats here in this box on the right. Please ignore my main inventory, as that's more creative stuff, not really indicative of what you might find. Probably first and foremost, you need to have the garage door and then a door controller itself. Medium battery works best. A generator, which you can always get. I think, can you get it over at the Outpost or Bandit Camp? I think it's by the Outpost. The HBF sensor, which can be hard to get at first, but you can always use a switch or an RF unit in the interim. 2 branches, a switch. I prefer a switch. You don't need it. And a wire tool. Wait, do we get the door lock? The door lock, the garage door, and a little bit of fuel for your generator. It also works for solar panels too if you so desire, but I find having things internally helps best. Now again, this isn't like a main base or anything. Consider this an outpost that you will use to bring loot back, sort it, loot it, smelt things, even grow things. If this is shallow enough, you can throw down pumpkin seeds and actually grow pumpkins inside, making it quite useful. So let me, we're going to do this section just over here. Let me go ahead and pull this boat out and show you just how easy this is. So I opened it, and now if I back up, it's going to close all by itself when I get far enough away. Nice. So we're going to leave the boat out here because it actually makes it a little bit easier for us to place the HB sensor itself. Let me go ahead and turn off that circuit so it doesn't drive us nuts. Now, if you haven't made a boathouse before, just real quick, having a submerged foundation like this and then creating a frame half in the water, half out is the key for this. I'm going to go ahead and make this stone and make this stone and then make this upper portion. You can build this in any fashion that you so desire, but I find this to be pretty easy. Let me go ahead and flip that soft side. So we're going to add the HBF sensor up at the top. Weep. I'm going to use the boat. It works best. Okay, so I do usually like to, again, I did take note, or I did take note. I did comment on how you really want these to be facing outward. If you have the land right there, kind of by your doorway, people can kind of sit on the shore and then lob shots over to you. If you can help it, try to avoid that. In most cases, I try to just keep it as far out in the shore, or as far as out in the body of water as possible, and keeping the entrance facing towards the ocean, just so I don't have that issue of somebody doming me. So we're going to put the sensor just outside, plop, and we're going to back this up. So I can place. Did I get a garage? I didn't. Look at me. I'm terrible. Construction. And then a code lock. Here we go. Okay, so real quick. I'm going to place a door. Going to place a lock. We're going to set a code. But what we're going to do is actually leave it unlocked so we can actually sync it to one of the door controllers. Alright, so the configuration here it's pretty basic. We'll have the generator feeding the medium battery, and then the medium battery will come out here to a switch. Again, you don't need the switch, but honestly, it's a way to kind of save on juice. Because initially, just to run this, or have the solar panels, this is going to be a pretty slow burn. But luckily, this doesn't use too much power. We're going to make it a bit more neat on the other side, but here we go. Bloop. Okay, so real quick, we're going to slap the controller down closest to the doorway. Usually if you kind of wiggle it around, you'll find a good spot for that. And we should be able to pair it to the door now that this is unlocked and it's closest to it. Looks like it paired. Now we're going to lock it. Boom! Okay, so power source. First things first. We're going to grab that medium battery. Well, let me go ahead and upgrade these because these are unsightly. Place down the medium-sized battery. You can place this anywhere. This is more just for showing you how you could do it. We're going to go down here to the generator. I'm going to put it with the gas tank facing to the left. So we have access to these ports on the side. Is that the right side or am I crazy? It is the right side. Look at me go. Okay, so I'm going to place some gasoline in here. Honestly, if you've got the solar panels to pull it off, I would say go for it because it's cheap. It's not going to cost you the low grade. So kind of take those things into consideration. Or even in this case, you could do both. Usually people will shoot at the solar panels, but it's free power, right, during the day. Anyways, let me jump back over here, and now let's go ahead and place this down and then put it on the power in. Bingo. And I'm going to place a switch over here closest to our setup just so we can control that flow of power. It's key. And we're going to take the power out. Again, this isn't the neatest setup, but I kind of make it loose so you guys can see it. And also build it into however you want to do your boathouse. Okay, so the what is it called? HBF sensor, the sensor outside, is sitting about center of the door frame. So what I'm going to do is take, well, okay, back that up. I'm going to take one of the branches for the HBF sensor. Actually, let me go outside and kind of discuss something that's happening in the front side here. So the HBF sensor is great, and in most cases can open a door with no problem. But if you have anything else kind of going to it, or you need something else to happen after it's triggered, it only puts off 1 unit of power. Why is that a problem? Well, if you need to do anything else beyond 1 unit of power, it's not going to power it. Basically, it's going to be dead in the water. So, in this case, you could just connect it directly to the actual door controller itself, and that will work. But oftentimes you want to do some other function with it. But I guess we can do it with both situations. Oh, look, I parked it there. What a scrub. Let me just open this so we can go through quickly. Yeah. There we go. Okay, so the power out would go out of this guy here, and we'll take it. I'm actually just going to punch it up, over, and just bring it through to the other side. Come on, don't drown. Kind of put it right. Oh, it actually came out. Okay, so when it comes out, power out. I'm going to bring it around to the other side. So what's cool with the sensor is if it detects one or more players, it's going to put off that exact amount. So if there's 2 players, it's going to put off 2 units of power. If it sees 1 player, it's going to put off 1 unit of power. And that's if it's properly powered in the first place. Okay, so what we're going to do is off this main section here, we are going to stick a branch, and we're going to say, I don't know, 4 units of power, just to be on the safe side. And we're going to take it to the out of the switch, connect it, and this is going to be the power in. Now the branch, I configured it to what, 4 units of power, so the left-hand side is always going to take the 4 first. And now I'm going to place it out and then connect it to the outside of the wall here. Try to make it right about there. I'm doing this more or less so you can see it. Honestly, I try to do it behind the sensor as much as possible. There's the power in. Did we turn this on already? I don't think we did. Nice. Okay. Now that it's powered, the sensor itself, you can see it's actually going on and off on me. When it's powered, you can actually adjust the different types of authorization. This is based off of the TC, if you didn't know. Right now it's including me and it's including others. So I'm going to say, if this is a door I just want to enter, I want it to just detect people that are verified on the TC. So authorized players only. So we have include others, so no. And then exclude authorized, which means I'm currently on the authorized list. You can tell it's activated because it's red and it is detecting me. So if we go over here and we kind of look on this side, it works great. Go ahead and start this up, pull away. Now again, that's great if you're just starting off, you want to be small about it, you don't have a lot of components. This will work for you or other players that are verified on your TC. So if the door opens up, but let's say you want to counter, let's say you wanted to send off a notification, let's say you wanted to do some other function while you've had the door open like this. See, I didn't have to actually close the door, it did it all by itself. So we're going to do what we did over here, and if you want to have if you want to do anything else after this is triggered, you're going to want to do something like this. We're going to take an AND gate. We're going to place it. I just stroked out. We're going to place it. Oh yeah, we're going to combine it. So the AND will take the 2 signals. If they're both on, it's going to combine them and make it a stronger signal. So we're going to take the excess power off of this. And again, this is totally optional. We're going to take the excess power off this branch, and then the HBF signal that's coming out that's hitting the door controller, we're actually going to replace it with this one. So we're going to go across to the other side here. So when it actually detects power out, wait, is that right? Yeah, it is. Okay. So the AND switch is going to take the excess power off of this branch right here, putting it into the AND switch. So when the HBF sensor does go off, let me go ahead and just turn on no clip so it's a bit easier to see this, so I'm not climbing around like a dummy. So the power comes in on this side. If it's activated by 1 or more players, it's going to put off a unit of 1. So in this case, it's just going to be me. So if we wanted to do something after this, we'd have to combine it with more power. So this 1 power unit is going to come across here to the AND switch and then combine with this excess power to make even more power off the top. So then we can take it down to something like Well, actually, let's just make a splitter so you can see what I'm talking about. This is just to illustrate the point. I'm going to take the output of the AND switch, stick it into the splitter, and we're going to go ahead and light up a few extra things just so you can see what we're talking about. Oh, that's right, I have to turn off the clip because placing when you're no clipping makes it very, very weird. If you didn't know, now you do. Okay, so there's a pass-through there. We're going to go ahead and do it one more time on the outside. And again, this is a bit more advanced, so if you're like, hey man, I don't need all that headache, you can just do that first phase and you're all set. You can even have a light sitting out here that can do the same thing. Obviously, this doesn't make sense for what we're doing. But there's definitely some use to this if you want these sensors to activate for something else, or you want it to do in conjunction with the door opening for you. So we're just going to bring it through on this side and connect it to the splitter. Also, I'm going to make sure that this door opens and closes using this side of the splitter. How much did we shave off on this side? I think we're going to need a bit more. We're going to call it 8. This is how much we're sending to the sensor itself. No, I'm sorry. It's just going to be 6. What am I saying? Actually, 6 is probably too much, but... So now we're just off of 1 unit of power. We're activating the sensor, a light, and the door controller, and an additional light on the inside. So you can do all kinds of logic to back that up. And when you go out of the range of the sensor, it's going to close the door automatically because of the door controller. And when you're done with this and you like this to charge further, because right now it's got a 12 units of power pull while it's charging, the excess goes through to the charge. You can shut off this entire circuit and watch. The usage goes down to nothing. And now it's just nothing but pure charge, whether this is gasoline or if it's solar power and a combination of gasoline generated power. It's still going to charge it up. So this basic concept will help for a boathouse, an automatic door for your boathouse, and other circuits and other electronic contraptions, traps, quality of life type stuff. So hopefully this helps out for the boathouse automatic door action in Rust. And man, I can't wait for this to come to console, man. I'm going to lose my freaking mind. So don't forget, I do have a YouTube channel where I post daily content, DayZ content, and Rust content in the very near future. And also have the social media, JadeMonkey_YT. And we got the Instagrams, which is JadeMonkeyLive, no spaces. And we also have merch available. The link is in the description below. That helps support the channel, and all those proceeds go back into the channel. So a big thanks to everybody who's done that. I just love the fact that we can shut the circuit off completely. So we have 288, and then this side right here, we can turn this on. And now this is active. Perfect!